obviously when I'm riding, I'm not going to be pulling the rein forward. I'm going to be using my leg. So if I ask her to step forward, and in leading though, I am going to be using a pressure this way. If I ask her to step forward and she doesn't, I'm going to do a whip tap. And I had to do a little wake-up whip tap there. And then I'm going to ask her to stop. And then I'm going to keep stepping. And that's how we teach horses to park. And parking is a wonderful thing to have a horse do. Because when you're sometimes in environments where the horse gets a little bit stressed out or something is fearful of something, an object, you could park it and it'll start to habituate to something, or it doesn't feel that nervous about it anymore. It's not moving, it's not out to get it. And also then I can also, in park, go and if there was a saddle, tighten a girth, adjust the girth, and I can go over here and I can adjust this side. And again, you can see I can move and the horse is parked. I can go forward, I can step back. She knows that doesn't mean to move. I can go forward, I can step back, I could even run forward, I can run back, I can go back here and check out something, and she's parked. And I think that was a good example of park, and she's woken up now so she can have a carrot. And that's called positive reinforcement. Beautiful. Now Julie is going to demonstrate the two other operants. And the one is to yield the haunches, and the other operant is to yield the shoulders, shoulder displacements. So why don't you show yielding the haunches first, Julie?
Okay.
Okay. So Julie's going to stand again, lined up with the horse, because if she faced that way, the horse might go that way. So she's lining up, and then you're going to walk back and do some whip stroking. So again, if she walks back, she wants the horse to know right away it doesn't mean anything. She's just walking back. Now it's very important when you teach a horse to yield either the shoulders or the haunches, that the horse knows it's not to go forward, because if it's going forward, it can't yield the haunches. So she has the rein there to already prevent the horse from going forward if it takes a step forward. And if the horse was very much pushing forward right now, I wouldn't even bother to do the yielding. So Julie now is going to bring the whip right about here to start. And there's no pressure here. So just stroke, Jewel. Now just rest. Now she's going to make a very light pressure. And if L doesn't go in a one pressure, she's going to do her whip tapping. And then she's going to increase that whip tapping. A little bit harder, Jewel. A little bit harder. And release. Good. So it isn't the pressure or this annoying little whip tapping that's motivating the horse to do the right response. It's the release of the pressure. So since that was a fairly dull, we're going to try that again, Joel. So you might come, if she's pretty dull again, you might be a little bit quicker on your whip tap, and now a little bit harder, tiny bit. And keep tapping, keep tapping, keep tapping, keep tapping, release. So Julie actually released when the horse's right hind leg went, and she didn't release when the left hind leg crossed. And in the yielding, you want an adduction. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for this left hind leg to cross in front of the right hind leg. Now right there, she can't really do it because the left hind leg is too far back. So she's going to have the horse take a step back. And now she's in a good place to yield. And then try again, Jill. Now, have your intention that you really want her. That was beautiful. So that was almost on a one pressure. That deserves a little cookie. So the release of pressure rewarded the horse, reinforced the behavior, but also doesn't hurt to have a little rub of the neck or a little cookie. Okay? You want to try that one more time, Jill, and see if you can get that, repeat that very light response. So horses don't come out of the box, and that's lovely. Yep. And that was a good release, so we can say this horse definitely understands that. And it's nice, she's so chilled today. She's really chilled out. But, you know, so today we have to make the pressure maybe a little quicker. But, you know, some days she's right there. So, you know, if you were riding a horse, one of the things you do in dressage training to make a horse, as they say, a little bit more supple or use its body in a good way is yielding, called leg yielding, later shoulder in, haunches in. They're all yielding exercises, and half pass. And it goes right up the level. So that's one of the very important exercises a horse learns. But if they don't know on the ground, it's very unlikely they're going to do it well under saddle. So the same thing. You want to be not at an angle, yeah? Okay, so now the last operant we're going to talk about is the displacement of the shoulders. So we are looking for, when she makes the pressure on the shoulder, and when you're riding eventually, it will also come from your rein aid, and it can come from your classical conditioning or seat aid, which I haven't talked about yet, classical conditioning. And you can, even in the groundwork, use classical conditioning. You can say the word over, you know, yield, back, forward. You can use your voice, but right now we're not going to do that. We're going for this pressure will get this leg to abduct. And what I mean by abduction is away, move away. This is adduction, that was the hind legs yielding, adduct, and this is abduct. And that's how horses turn. They start turning by abducting, and then the other leg adducts. And that's the steering. The steering on a horse is in the front. It's like a bus. Horses turn like a bus or a ship. They don't throw their bum out to turn. So this is our steering wheel up here, the front legs. So Julie, first do your whip stroking, Jewel, and then just place your whip where you're going to ask her to move away from, maybe a little bit up here, yeah, on the shoulder, so not so far back. And now she's going to make a one pressure and a little whip tap. And now the horse abducted. Wasn't a big abduction, but she did the right thing. And we're just going for now for what we call one basic attempt, one step. And in operant conditioning, when you first train a horse to do one basic response, one operant, you go for we call it a basic response, one basic attempt. Because again, the horse is learning from trial and error. So if I ask it to step, even though it wasn't a big step, but I keep asking, the horse is going to think it's doing the wrong thing because I keep asking, it's gotten rewarded, and then it trials something else. So we have to be very clear when you're first training a horse, if it makes this basic attempt, you immediately release the pressure or negatively reinforce, take away pressure. So subtract, take away, not negative. It doesn't mean bad. It just means you've taken away the pressure. Good. Excellent.